we go. Welcome to Good Morning Football, presented by Old Trapper Beef Jerky. Look at those dudes in L.A. ready to roll. It is Monday. It is November 17th. I'm Kyle Brandt in New York City, the media capital of the world. In L.A., it's Manti, Teo, and Isaac Rochelle. Manti, Isaac, how we feeling? How's it going? What are the vibes?
We're feeling great over here. I got a track star over here, and my brother Isaac Rochelle. He likes to run little marathons. We like to run highlights. We like to talk about football on our show, KB. You know how it goes.
Saying the Notre Dame can't beat it. It's all the games, all the highlights, all the recap, all the scores, all the Isaac, all the Manti. Don't go anywhere. Let's just get into it. Roll our sleeves up. Good Morning Football. Go.
Buckle up.
Welcome to Good Morning Football, presented by Old Trapper.
That is the voice of Jamie Erdahl, who is on her way back from parts unknown, actually parts known in Europe. She's going to be joining us again, of course, soon. But, guys, the work must go on. The games must go on, and they did yesterday, morning, noon, and night. All kinds of games starting in Europe and ending in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. How was it for you, L.A.? Quickly, just give us one word to describe the weekend's games yesterday, or we'll just go to the lead block. Why not? I'm not even driving. Jared Goff is. Jalen Hurts. Both those guys rarely lose in prime time. Second quarter. A.J. Brown got the ball a bunch. Season high in receptions for 7 catches, but only 49 yards. And then we're going to push, and we're going to tush. And this is Kush, and this is Kush-lash, and Tush-lash. And the Eagles score 13-6. Jalen Hurts. Third quarter. Jared Goff to Jahmyr Gibbs. Just watch this. Just marvel at the athleticism. What? Another one. What? Another one. Chris Boomer somewhere just whopping all over, whopping and whooping. And he doesn't score, though. They do get him on the ground. That's 42 yards. 7 plays later. The Lions are going to go for it on 4th and goal. A lot of this from the Dan Man last night, and then a lot of this. No. 0 for 4 on 4th down to that point in the game. 0 for 5 on 4th down. When Dan Campbell doesn't get his 4th downs, the Lions lose. 4th and 3. Nope. Not a chance. Not happening. Not on this night. We'll talk about Jared Goff in a little bit. It was not a career night for him, but the Eagles defense is incredible. 4th quarter, 16-6. Tush push. 4th and inches. No. It has been smited or smoten. All right, so that's a big victory for the Lions, okay? But now the Eagles ball the back again. They get 16-9. And wait. It looks like it's a pass interference on Rock Ya-Sin. Oh, boy. That is not a popular call. That is, in fact, there's a lot of talk in the streets about that call. But guess what? The Eagles go on to win 16-9, and the Eagles defense was dominant. I'll give you a hot take on that call. I don't care if they called it or not. The Lions weren't going to score. Sorry, Lions fans. You know it. I know it. The Philadelphia defense was amazing. Afterwards, we heard from both head coaches. Get into it.
As I watched football today, I feel like I saw a lot of teams waiting to lose. Our team's waiting to win because they know how to win, and there's something to be said for that. Of knowing how to win and knowing how to figure out ways to win.
The coaches, all of us, man, everybody that's part of this offense, we got to be better, especially in a day like today when you're playing that kind of defense, that kind of team. The margin for error is so small, man. You don't have the luxury. Like we get in the red zone, we have to score a touchdown, man. We can't come away not scoring 7 there. We were a little off. We just couldn't get our rhythm there.
All right, this was not a pretty game, guys. The score was not pretty. The box score was not pretty, certainly for Detroit. But it's 2 teams that we trust. We feel like we have a relationship with them, and the 2 teams we feel are going to be there. And then at the end, we see Philly just slapping around that Detroit offense, a Detroit offense that is really revered. So, guys, Eagles defense, we know they're talented. We know they're at home. They know it was cold. But really, what went into them just slamming the door on Jared Goff in particular? How'd this happen?
Well, KB, you said it wasn't pretty. I thought it was beautiful. You know me as a defensive guy. I thought that what Vic Fangio and the Eagles defense put on tape was just beautiful. And I want to talk about what Nick Sirianni said. He said they're waiting to win. The defense isn't waiting to win. They're going out and they're winning. When I watch this Philadelphia Eagles defense, they are so good at what they do. And this is what they do. They run man coverage. They're extremely disciplined in their leverage on their receivers, which forces a quarterback to have to throw the ball early. Now, the defensive line knows that the ball has to come out early. So how many times did we see that ball batted last night? I swear, it was like watching a volleyball game, and it was like, roof. Like, I just kept watching a different sport last night with the D-line. The interior D linemen are too strong for you to run up the middle. The linebackers are too fast for you to run outside. And so the only way for you to get the ball out is your receivers have to win at the line of scrimmage. If they don't win at the line of scrimmage, your quarterback has to wait until your receivers pass that middle defender. That's always in the middle of the field in Vic Fangio's defense, but that rush doesn't give you time. And so I love watching Philadelphia Eagles defense because they do their job. They're very, very good at executing the plan that they have, and they're good at getting pressure. So hats off to Vic Fangio. I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah, let me piggyback a little bit off that, because I think the mark of a great defense is when you start making these type plays, tip balls type plays, these fun plays that are exciting for fans to watch. You know, an average defense, you're just doing your job, you're setting the edge. No. Jordan Davis, 3 tip balls. I don't think I had 3 tip balls in my career, which is probably more of a me problem.
Right.
But this is, again, the mark of a defense that's starting to ascend. They're having fun. When I see guys doing the Matambo celebration, we're bringing in other sports, as Manti mentioned, that's when you know this defense is coming along. And the crazy thing about this is, this D-line only had a couple sacks last night. It's not like this D-line had, 6, 7 sacks. They still found a way to affect the quarterback. And again, that's the name of a great defense. Affect the quarterback. Have fun. Make plays. Celebrate. Start making these big plays like tip balls. So it was exciting. I agree. It was exciting to watch.
Yeah, it was exciting to watch because of the names on the marquee, I feel like. Eagles, Lions, guys, if we sit here and you told us, oh, that's going to be the NFC title game, none of us would blink, okay? Same location, same everywhere. These two teams are great. But then one team looked like it was an NFC title game type team, and it was Philadelphia. The defense, good for them. This is a Detroit offense with made guys, with Jared Goff, who was on the varsity, with all the weapons and the speed. 9 points with nothing going on and all down the stretch. I could not believe this. Guys, you understand the last 20 passes for Jared Goff, the last 20 pass attempts in a tackle football game? He completed 2. 2 completions, 18 incompletions. This is a guy who a year ago had a perfect game. It was like it was the greatest, most accurate game I've ever seen. He could not complete a pass. It was the lowest completion percentage of his career. It was down in the 30s, and I'll have you know a few of those completions were just to running backs. So we know the Eagles defense is great. Good for them. We know that. What the hell was this from the Detroit offense? Because if you're someone who has suspicions about Jared Goff, even after all these years that we've seen him and the whole comeback story and Jared Goff chanting in the streets of Detroit, if you have suspicions that maybe outside in the elements he's not that good, that maybe outside of the dome he's not that good, this was your Lollapalooza. This was really bad, really bad. I understand that tough defense, not everyone has a great night all the time. You have your off weeks. You don't go 2-18 in your last 20 pass attempts. I know the D-line is great. They're not that great. I've seen this Eagles team get beaten this year. And let's take a step back, guys. Let's take a step back. Let's look right now at the NFC playoff picture. What jumps out? I'll tell you a few things. Let's jump out to who's at the top. All right. The Eagles playoff start right now, which they don't. They get a bye, and they have home field advantage throughout. The Rams, same record as the Eagles, sitting there at 8-2. The damn Chicago Bears are all alone in first place in the NFC North, a team that the Lions thumped, but it feels like months ago. And then for the sake of this conversation, Detroit is now lurking. That means they're not in the playoffs. They're 6-4. If you believe Detroit will be in the playoffs, which I still do, we're looking at a scenario where it's very likely, guys, that they're going to go to Philadelphia. Very likely in the playoffs if they get there. Who the hell knows? They may even go to Chicago. We don't know how this is going to think. We know the Eagles are going to be there. I still believe the Lions are going to be there. Let's talk about this, because this is a conversation people are having this morning, aside from the pass interference at the end of the game, which I don't care about, because the Lions' offense was so terrible, I don't think they would have scored. When you see Jared Goff and you see all the incompletions and the total domination from the D-line, how does it make you feel? Forget Philadelphia a second. How does it make you feel about Detroit in these NFC playoffs? They're going to be about, I don't know, 7-8 weeks from now.
Well, when I watch you guys, right, when you bring up Jared Goff, KB, I think is somebody that he's shown this in the past where if you can get to him and rattle him a little bit, he gets very, very uncomfortable and he gets unsettled. And there are times where, whether it's pressure or no pressure, whether it's guys getting in his face or not, I think he gets rattled if you can get in front of him enough. I also think that when I watched last night's game, to your point, KB, that pass interference call, it was a horrible call, but was it going to really make a difference? I think the thing that made the difference was, I know Dan Campbell loves going for it on 4th down. I know he loves doing that. There are certain situations in a third quarter where I felt like it's 4th and goal. Things aren't going so well right now. Just kick the field goal. Just get the 3 points. Get on board. It was 13-6 at that time in the third quarter. They went for it twice. 4th and 5 on the Philadelphia 32 and 4th and goal on the Philadelphia 3. How that game was going, again, I can only see it from the outside. I'm looking at a defense in the Philadelphia Eagles defense that's just stomping my offense. I need to be able to put some points on the board. I need to be able to get a little bit closer to beating this guy, to decrease the point difference. And I thought that those two situations were also situations that they're like, oh, coach, just kick the field goal. Just put 3 points on the board, KB.
Listen, they're not ever going to do that, man, Ty. They're going to go down. They're going to go down on that horse, and you know that. Yeah. That's why it was frustrating last night, because all the things for the Lions are standards and expectations. They want to win a Super Bowl. They're not interested in going to the divisional and losing. They've done all that stuff before, and then you see them last night against one of the elites on the road. That was a tough game. In the meantime, let's talk about the Seahawks. How did they do? Because there's a similar story here. Sam Darnold been one of the coolest stories in the league this year. He's never beaten Matthew Stafford, but new Darnold, knew everything. The Rams in black jerseys, good for them. Matthew Stafford goes to Devontae Adams, 1-yard touchdown. It's 14-3. We're going to talk about Sam Darnold a lot after this. Jackson Smith-Njigba has been maybe the most dominant player at any position in the league this year, but not here. That is intercepted by Kobe Durant, who has one of the greatest basketball names of all time, but is playing football. It's his second interception this year. Sam Darnold, again, looking, no. Intercepted by Cameron Kitchens. They threw the Cameron Kitchens. The Kitchens sink. Intercepted again. That is Sam Darnold's, it felt like he had 12 interceptions. He threw 4. 3 of them were his fault. Next Rams possession, 4th quarter, 1st and goal. Stafford rolling out. Colby, he says nope, and 6. The Rams doing the thing now, getting away from Seattle. Sam Darnold's going to have to fight through one of these really tough days for him later in the 4th. So less than a minute. They're trying to pull out a miracle. Down 2. This is exciting. Jackson Smith-Njigba, 12 yards out of bounds. Watch this next play. They have 1 timeout. They're not close enough for a field goal, but they only have 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. He goes down, timeout. They immediately stopped the clock. It was really close, but they gave him 1 second, which means Jason Myers gets a 61-yarder, and kickers make everything these days, but not this one. It was a no-doubter wide right. For once, a kicker doesn't make a 60-some-yard field goal. Jason Myers misses. Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, and the Rams win. A close game. You know, Sam Darnold throws 4 interceptions, and the Rams still almost lose. A lot of takeaways from this. Rams at 8-2, Seahawks 7-3. Let's hear from both quarterbacks, Matthew Stafford and Sam Darnold.
I think our defense played outstanding. They deserve to be partying in there like crazy for sure. But, no, it's fun. It's a great group. We understand, that there's, things to clean up always when you win or lose. But excited for our guys, man. That's a big win against a really good team that was playing as good as anybody in the NFL right now. To come in there and put up a defensive effort like that was pretty special.
Can't turn the ball over as much as I did today. I'll learn from it, watch the tape, grow from it. Got to give credit to, the Rams. Obviously, they're a really good defense, really good team. But, yeah, I got to be better personally, and I know we'll bounce back and learn and grow from this one.
All right, so the record scratches a little bit. It really does on Sam Darnold, but the season's not over. They have a good record. They're still headed for the playoffs. And yet, there's some scar tissue we have with Sam Darnold, and some of it seemed to be ripped open in this game with 4 interceptions. Again, 3 his fault, but fine, 3 interceptions. What are you thinking this morning about Sam Darnold and the Seahawks?
Yeah, it's tough because Sam Darnold's one of those guys that over the last couple years you've kind of fallen in love with. He's consistently played well, except for these few games against the Rams and these bigger games. The issue now for Sam Darnold is all the analysts, all the folks on TV are going to be like, who is Sam Darnold actually when we need him? Why does Sam Darnold have a kryptonite? Why is he throwing 4 interceptions against the Rams and consistently not playing well against that particular team? I think of the great quarterbacks like Tom Brady. You couldn't think of Tom Brady and go, oh, that was the team and situation that he didn't play well. So this is an unfortunate situation for Sam Darnold because, again, a guy who's really overcome a lot of odds, put all this people that slept on him, put him out of the way, get him out of the picture. And then all of a sudden you have these situations where it's like, why is Sam Darnold throwing 4 picks in a game that they should win and that would put them over the edge? So I think that's just the narrative right now. Who is Sam Darnold actually in these situations? What's
crazy about this whole thing, guys, is the Seattle Seahawks offense still put up 400 yards of offense, right? Like, you're talking about if you just look at the stat line, you'll be like, well, there's no way that the Seattle Seahawks should have lost this game. When you talk about Chris Shula and who's the defensive coordinator for the LA Rams, and he mentioned it a lot in the broadcast as bend but don't break. You hear that term a lot in football. They bend but they don't break. What does that mean? Well, that means that no matter how many yards that the opposing offense gets, no matter how many touchdowns they may score, that the turnover margin is huge. But not only that, I thought what was even more influential on this game was the red zone trips. There were 4 red zone trips that the Seattle Seahawks had yesterday. Out of those 4, 3 of them were field goals, and the Seattle Seahawks didn't score a touchdown until late in the 4th quarter. That is what you call bend but don't break. The Seattle Seahawks were getting their yardage. They were. But they weren't getting their points. That's the thing defensively that you can look at and really, really be proud of yourself that, man, we bent, but we didn't break when it really, really mattered. And I thought that the mentality and the DNA of this LA Rams defense was so obvious when they had an interception to start off the second half. 2 plays later, Kobe Bryant peanut punches the ball out of Puka Nakua's hands. And easily, as a defensive guy, you could be like, man, this is just, how frustrating is this for us to get a turnover and you just turn it back? They go 10 plays with the Seattle Seahawks, and they end up kicking a field goal. That, for me, as if I'm a defender, I can hang my hat on and be like, see, this is what our defense is all about. We get to turnovers, and we force field goals. So I think defensively, they played a phenomenal game.
This revs my engine, guys. This is the best time of the year. It's cold now. We're turning the corner. Now the games really matter. And I love this time of year because there are good quarterbacks, maybe even great quarterbacks. But are there quarterbacks you can trust? It's very different from being a good player and putting up stats and fantasy and player of the week and all that versus the guys you know you can depend on when it gets cold and it gets heated. Can you trust Sam Darnold? Can you trust Jared Goff? Can you trust Baker Mayfield? We love those guys. Can you trust them? Can you trust Lamar Jackson? Did you watch Lamar yesterday? That was pretty weird. There's guys that are great, and there's guys that you can absolutely depend on. And sometimes the first category gets exposed, and they're not the second category. Wait till we see Daniel Jones at Arrowhead next week. Wait till we see Patrick Mahomes. He's not playing very well right now. It's a crazy, crazy time. But to that point, let's see if we can still depend on Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who played against the Bengals yesterday in another kind of weird game where we have all kinds of updates coming afterwards. Right after this highlight, Ian Rappaport's going to be here and tell you about Rodgers. Why? Because 7-6 early. The Steelers are winning. He takes his time, looks very mobile, and then gets taken down, throws it away. No big deal. But it is a big deal because watch his left wrist. It's going to go down, and he's going to have a player land. He immediately grabs it. Big 9 out of 10 wins right there, almost a 10. 13-9. Now, this game was nuts because the Steelers held on. It's kind of low scoring, and Flacco is going to get intercepted here. And this is Kyle Duggar. That's great. He takes it for a touchdown. And he's going to watch Jamar Chase selling out to try to tackle him. And no. Now, Mason Rudolph is going to come in and finish the game for Rodgers. Some, even myself, thought that Mason Rudolph might just be the guy this year. He might be their week 1 starter. He came in and played like it. Rudolph was good in this game. I'm not saying it was spectacular, but he was efficient. He got the job done. Look at him right here. A guy who was extremely busy. Kenneth Gainwell yesterday had 9 carries and 7 catches and 2 touchdowns. Rudolph, great, looked the part, 34-12. Mustache, Tomlin needed a win badly because they're hanging in there in the AFC standings. But speaking of hanging in there, Ian Rappaport, you and I both in our 40s talking about a quarterback in his 40s. Aaron Rodgers, we go down, he doesn't come back. And, Ian, this has ramifications not just for the Steelers this year, but for one of the most prolific careers a quarterback we've ever seen. What's the deal with Rodgers right now, man?
Well, Aaron Rodgers is going to have a test this morning just to determine how long he is going to miss with his injured wrist, if he is going to miss time. Here is our understanding. This is something I've been reporting with colleague Tom Pelissero. Aaron Rodgers does have a tiny fracture in his left wrist. That is what the x-ray at the stadium revealed yesterday. The reason why he's going to have more tests after, you mentioned, a player landed on his wrist. It was torqued in a way. It was just too much pressure, and a bone ended up breaking. Aaron Rodgers, to my understanding, has told people close to him that he will be back very soon. He has told more people close to him that he does not want to miss a game. He is pushing to play in this game. I know it seems crazy because he broke a bone in his wrist, but it is a left wrist. If he's able to grip, if he's able to receive the ball on the snap, it is actually possible that Rodgers could play this week. I had someone tell me that he was essentially 50-50 to play this week. So it sounds bad, but Aaron Rodgers does want to play and is trying to see how he could do it for the Steelers.
Well, we're hopeful for that rap sheet. But somebody else who left the game was Jalen Ramsey due to another on-field situation with Jamar Chase. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's right. Jalen Ramsey got ejected from last night's game, did not see the Steelers win it out. He was ejected, according to referee Bill Vinovich, for punching Jamar Chase. Now, you can see the altercation right there, bottom of the screen. Those guys actually were getting into it earlier in the game. There was multiple penalties on those guys because of that. So let's get into this a little bit. Bill Vinovich met with reporters in the pool report after the game, was asked why Jalen Ramsey was ejected, said number 5 in the Steelers punched number 1. Okay, that's pretty clear. Then in the post-game locker room, what Ramsey told reporters that Jamar Chase spit on him. And there's a couple close-up views on video online going around where it sort of looks like it happened. The referee said he does not believe that anything rose to that level. The NFL is reviewing this, and precedent is there. If a player is determined to have spit on another player, missing a game is something that has happened. Jalen Carter to start the season is the example. So we will see whether or not Jamar Chase gets suspended this coming week.
Thank you, Ian. Honestly, a horrible story. I hate this story. It's pathetic. We have two of the best players in the league. Jamar Chase, one of the best players of this decade. I'm watching the video, Ian. You're reporting the news. I'm seeing a big old hawk of loogie right across the screen, right towards Jalen Ramsey. The league will do what they will with it, but it's a horrible, horrible story. I hate talking about it. There's so many great football games yesterday. We will get into them. We'll get more from you, Ian, as well.